Hello everyone, and welcome back to DMG. That's right, today we're going to be doing an ITX cube build. Now I'm super excited because I've never actually done one of these. Really quick, I'm just going to go over our components. So this is the board sent to me by that LTT Forums user, thank you. It's the little Intel Atom board. I actually tested it. And in this footage that you're going to be seeing on screen now, I've confirmed it to work. I've installed two 2 gig sticks of DDR3, which is what it takes. And I'm probably going to be running Windows 7 32-bit, and because of how 32-bit CPUs read memory, they can only take up to 4 gigs. So even if I put 8 gigs in here, it would still read it as 4. So there's really no point in pushing it any further. This is going to be like a light daily use and maybe used as a game server. Now, I'll move this out of the way really quickly. I was going to build a custom case for this, but decided against it. Now this case, I think it was like, I got it on sale for like $50, I believe. So it's definitely not the cheapest thing out there. However, it is a pretty nice case from what I've heard, and it even says on the box it's the most popular ITX cube case. Here, just so you get a bit of a better perspective, I'm gonna, let's see, prepare to ascend. Wow. Isn't that magical? Alright, here it is. It's actually very well packaged. I'm going to save this box for if I ever sell this system or another ITX system or something, because like this packing material is fantastic. It's not that awful crumbly foam that gets all over your house and you know, bothers you for years. It is so firmly held in here that I'm going to have to do this to get it out. This thing is tiny. Like, I knew it would be small, but I've never actually seen in person a case this small, so I didn't know what to expect. Like, this thing takes a regular ATX power supply, which is interesting for like a small form factor. That's the power supply hole versus the rest of the case. Like, that is hilarious. There it is, guys. There it is. Alright, I've refocused on the case itself. Let's flip it around and take a look at the front. They're like 12 variants, because there are a lot of different colors you can get these in. There's like black, pink, white, you know, all three of the colors that are known to man. And then there are solid and mesh front variants. I got the mesh one because, again, if I ever build another ITX system, because I think they're really cool, with a board better than this one that, you know, has more airflow, I'll want it. So I'm planning to use this case for a while. Now, it looks like it, from the top, like that's the part that comes off. Now, one of the main reasons I picked this one was that it took ATX PSUs, despite being a small form factor case, which I have a lot of ATX power supplies and absolutely zero standard size like small form factor. And those are pretty expensive because they're having to cram a lot of stuff into a way smaller space. How do I open this thing? Like, oh, there are lots of screws. Okay, so this is an interesting design. So I think this whole top panel comes off, and then you can access the goodies inside. Now, this, if you have a board with PCIe, you can fit a whole 2-slot GPU in it. Like, I could fit my GTX 980 in there. Well, maybe not because of length, but like if you've got a short enough dual slot, it will fit, which I think is just great. Okay, I was correct. So this shell comes off. I've seen people do like these super small builds, but I've never seen one in this exact case. But, you know, I've seen people struggle with them before. Let's see. Oh, that's nice. These, you get this little sack of screws and stuff that I guess we'll be using later to... Looks like there are a couple different sizes. That's your motherboard screw. You've got a little clip for cable management, I guess. So that's pretty nice, and it's probably wasn't intentional, but I may use that twisty tie that it's on for cable management. I'm a resourceful man. This is adorable. It feels like I'm building like a dollhouse computer or something. Now, really quickly, on the front here, well, they said it could work with 120 radiators. So I'm going to try with a 120 mil fan. It's 12 centimeters for those who care. I'm going to try with one of these Antec fans because I love them and I have a lot of them on hand. Actually, no, I'm going to go with a black one so it fits better. Yeah, that's right. That's how rich I am. I've got fans on hand. Now, I don't mean like, when I say fits better, I mean aesthetic. Because that's kind of easy to see through. And I may actually, yeah, I'm going to peel off this Deep Cool sticker because that's really obvious. Like, obviously shiny. There we go, okay. So now we've just got a generic black fan. And that one also had screws with it, which is nice. I don't have to go scrounge some up. Now, I am a bit worried about, like, cables intersecting with it. I think what I do here is this part comes off, because... Is that what I do? Yes, it is, but I gotta take these off. Again, this is my second build ever, and my first super small build, so I'm still getting used to it, you know? Now, I gotta say, so far, I like the build quality of this case. Like, a lot of it is metal, and it just feels very sturdy. It doesn't feel like it's just going to explode at any moment. Now it looks like we've got double layer dust filters here, which is interesting. And it is, it's held in by these little snaps, and the edges are really flexible, so you can take it out. But because I may be running this as a server, and I don't need too much airflow for this build, I'm going to leave it in for the moment. I'm going to move that a bit. Now, I think the fan screws to this side, but the screws go on that side. So we'll put Mom's spaghetti down there and rotate the fan like that so that the part that the cable faces the board side. So I guess this is where you'd put your AIO if you had one. So here are your 140 mil holes, and then your 120, of course, a bit closer together. That's how math works. Now, I'll be explaining a bit more about this case as I go. So, I guess this is your 3.5 mount, which, should I put the hard drive in? I'm just now realizing I probably should have put the hard drive in before the fan. Yeah. So I gotta take this out. But your 3.5 mount is up here, and then you've got a 2.5 mount there. Is that 2.5 mount? No, that's, sorry, that's just part of the power supply holder. Looks a bit like a 2.5 mount. But you can mount a 2.5 drive, like right here. 2 of them, in fact, according to their spec. Because, like, there are the cutouts for the SATA connectors if you use 2 2.5 drives, which is, can the camera see that? Right there and right there. That's where 2 2.5 drives would have their SATA connectors. Or you could have a 3.5 drive and its stuff would be up here. This is not an IDE friendly case. Okay, I put the drive in upside down, it looks like. So I think it has to go in that way. No, it doesn't have instructions. Okay, it just assumes you know how to build in a case. So the case does get a point off for that because, you know, if this is your first build, that's going to make it a bit difficult. They might have some on their website, but still, like, they should be in the box. Yeah, okay, so that side doesn't work for it. So that means that you can't use the, like, bended 90-degree SATA cables. Oh, just dropped a hard drive. Whoops. That works. Right, because I kind of dropped that drive, I need to test it now. That was a complete dumb move on my part. But I do want to say something. So I did notice, because this is one of those like weird drives that doesn't occupy the full size of the 2.5. It's got that, you have to bend it down to access that hole, or of the 3.5, sorry. You have to bend it down to access that hole, so I may actually end up using a different drive anyway. So, and I figured out it also screws up here. That's the other place that it screws in. I have to do that. So actually the drives I'm going to be using are this 1 terabyte Fire CUDA, which is an SSHD. It's a pretty recent manufacture date. It's like a 2017 model, I think. Maybe even a 2019. It's a very new drive. And I guess this does need different screws than a desktop drive. And in the other one I'm going to use an SSD because I'm fancy. A super sussy drive. Meme's been dead since like 2014, I swear. Okay. Again, you're going to need to use flat SATA cables. You can't use the 90-degree ones here, which is a bit unfortunate since I have mainly those. And also, that little pop sound, they're like rivets here that keep your drives, you know, pressed up against there, which will be good. I'm going to go grab that SSD. I had a lot of struggles with this case, and I'm going to go through those really quickly. So I need to take it back apart to put in this USB adapter cable because I want to use the front USB ports. Just the 4 on the back won't be enough. But the case has USB 3.0 and the motherboard only has a USB 2.0 header. So, of course, there are adapters for that. I got a 2-pack for about $6 on Amazon. Now, I'm probably going to put some sort of video card in here because the current one does not seem to support 3D acceleration, which is a bit unfortunate. Did I take out one of the power supply screws? Yes, I did. Whoops. Yeah, so the top just lifts off. Well, it's supposed to. Yeah, there we go. So I just packed this huge amount of Molex cables into the side because I'm using this like 20-year-old power supply. This is the power supply from the Athlon 64 PC. I'm going to use it for now until I can find a suitable replacement. It's 350 watts. This uses less than 50, and I feel it'll be fine. Now, you may notice that our hard drives are a bit different than what we started out with, because that drive actually didn't fit too well in the case. So here is a 320 gigabyte drive, I believe. It's a Western Digital, if I remember correctly. Then here is a Seagate Barracuda. No, Firecuda. It's from the Rescuing the Files from My Teacher's Dead MacBook video. It's that drive that I pulled out. 1 terabyte, but this is my boot drive because it's a bit more reliable. This is just storing video files because that's probably what I'm going to use it for, either in NAS or just video playback. Now you can see how incredibly tightly packed this was. Getting the power supply in there was difficult. You can see our drives down there. Yeah, that is a WD blue. Caviar blue, specifically, because it's that old. Actually, plugging in cables is quite difficult, but I have a feeling that just a USB cable will be fine. Now, the SATA cables are squished super tight against the power supply. But because of the orientation of the drives, you can't use the 90-degree ones. So the 90-degree ones, they would stick up like that instead of like that, so you couldn't fit them in there. Or at least the ones that I have. There might be other ones. Now, looks like our board USB header is right here. So that plugs in there. And then our USB front cable is here, so I'll just stick those together. I've actually never plugged one of those in before, and I get why people don't like that header now. Now we've got, of course, only one PCI slot. There's a card called the FirePro 2260. That would be good in there. There are also PCI versions of the GeForce 210, 610, and like 710, I believe. But they are incredibly expensive and hard to find for some reason. I guess because it's such an esoteric card. So like, that'd be about a $70 card for a PCI GT610. And I don't really want to pay that amount of money. That would be about the price of a better ITX board, like a, I don't know, a first gen Ryzen, or even like a, you know, one of these with a soldered Intel laptop chip or something from the 3rd or 4th gen. It would be cheaper than that. So I think I will go with the FirePro because it is about $20, and that is a pretty good price. Now, I either just didn't put this screw in or accidentally unscrewed it. I think I did just accidentally unscrew it. But that brings me to my next point about this case. It is the power supply mounting. That hole doesn't line up, and if you flip it around, one of the other holes doesn't line up. So I think those are the mounting holes that are used for their like ATX to SFX PSU mounting kit. because again, this is an ITX board that uses a full-size ATX power supply. So that really freaked me out at first. I was like, am I not going to be able to mount this PSU? But no, it's fine. Overall, I really like the build quality of this case. It feels very nice. I don't think I'm going to be doing many future ITX builds for fun because, you know, just the super cramped conditions I did not find enjoyable, and, you know, squishing everything behind the fan. But that is not a complaint with this case. Of course it's going to be a bit tight. And also those little like bent squares, that is for decoration. The case comes with that. I did not break it myself, actually. So I'll just slip this guy back together. I found the easiest way to do it is turn it on its end and slide it down. At least that worked for me earlier. And it's about as fast as this computer right here, the Pentium 4 HT on Windows XP. And I've got Windows 7 Pro 32-bit installed and activated on it. So basically you need to hold the front while holding the sides down and then push from the back. And that typically works. Alright, I'm just gonna plug it up and remote desktop into it because that is honestly the easiest way. But really quickly, I just want to do a tour around it. So this is what it looks like. You've got blue LEDs along the bottom that light up for power and red that lights up for hard disk activity. So I'll show some clips of that later. You've got feet on the bottom, and it's like, it's strangely bouncy. Like, it's a really bouncy case, and I don't know, there's just something really funny about it. It has absolutely fantastic ventilation. I don't even need that big front fan that I put in, but it's super quiet, so it doesn't really make a difference. I'm just gonna go ahead and plug this in over here with my other server. All right, so I'm gonna connect to ITX as Davis because that is the username. Okay, sorry, it's on the wrong monitor. Here we go. Is it gonna full screen? Oh yeah, I previously had it on a 1280 by 1024 monitor, so it might want to stay at that resolution. So here we can see it's a bit laggy just because it's over a remote session. If I plug it straight into a monitor, it would be better. So here we go. Here is our 4 cores, our 4 gigs of RAM. So here are our 2 hard disk drives, our local disk C, and then that's full of videos. That has a couple videos, and they are not my own. I wouldn't just like fill a drive with my own videos. I don't think I have enough videos to even fill a terabyte. Pretty responsive, but again, as I said, I'll just load up a game here. The onboard video does not have sufficient 3D acceleration. So it'll throw up an error at some point. Yeah, it needs DirectX 8.1b, and this card only has 6.0. But I'm gonna log off. There we go, it has shut down. And then I'll just click it off. So again, this is probably going to be used for either like a NAS, which these boards are great for, low power consumption, at which point I will buy a new power supply, or just for playing video files back. Now the way I actually got Windows 7 on it from a DVD is I have this converter board from that laptop optical drive I took apart in the finale of 2021 episode. And I'm just using this Dell DVD-ROM drive, which works fine, but it just converts it to USB B. So I gotta say, this is pretty convenient. It's a pretty good solution. And I'm just realizing I forgot to test the USB, but I'll do that off camera. Again, That's it for this video. Thank you everyone for watching. Please do subscribe if you enjoyed, and see you next time.